Hello everyone, Annie Koloko for Koloko Immigration Law, Visa Girl for Koloko Immigration Law. Welcome to our weekly update. It is Wednesday, October 17, 2018. What a week! Therefore, we will have two short videos. The first order of business is actually a guidance from the Department of State regarding the issuance of a visa for H-1B beneficiary. Obviously, the administration is encouraging the consular officer to be a little bit more involved in the issuance of a visa for the H-1B beneficiary. What do they mean? You have to remember, and you may be aware, that previous guidance under the FAM, which is actually the Foreign Affairs Manuals, actually specifically asks the consular officer not to re-adjudicate petition that will be presented in front of them. What does that mean for the layperson? It means that if a petition, in this case an I-129 petition, has been adjudicated by USCIS in the United States, the consular officer will actually encourage not to re-adjudicating said petition. For example, some officers actually sometimes will request additional documents. Some officers actually sometimes will issue what is called a 221G refusal, basically sending the petition back to USCIS. And this was a little bit frowned upon actually by the Department of State, given that if the petition has been approved already by USCIS, then the consular officer will actually encourage to go forward and just assume that all the documents have been submitted to USCIS and then the petition has been adjudicated normally and properly. However, now with this new guidance from the Department of State, it's actually a little bit of the opposite. It's basically streamlining a practice that was actually pursued by the consular officer. The fact is, they do actually raise the issue that in the H-1B petition, for example, the Department of Labor, who is actually the first step, in issuing actually the labor approval, only had contacted the petitioner in writing. Therefore, according to this new guidance, then the consular officer are encouraged actually to ask the beneficiary for additional document if needed, and obviously make a decision based on the validity of the petition or the pertinence of the evidence presented. What does that mean for all of you? It means that now one has to be ready once he goes to the US consulate or embassy to face additional scrutiny. Do not be alarmed. If you do need help, Koloko Immigration Law is there to assist. Do not hesitate to contact our office to have more information about this subject. Also, an additional legal update that I would like you to be aware of is actually now for the petitioner and the beneficiary of what is called a green card, or technically 485 application, which is actually an application to obtain a permanent status. Now, the medical examination that is submitted, that is Form 693, will be valid now for 2 years. And this is actually a great improvement for most of the petitioner and the beneficiary, as previously the medical examination will be valid only for 12 months. However, caveat, obviously this application and the 693 will have to be submitted to USCIS within 60 days from the signature of the civil surgeon. A fancy way of talking about the physician that has been actually approved and accredited by USCIS to perform such medical examination. And that's a little bit of things that you need to know. Obviously, also another legal update, and also something that you should be aware, is that the processing time for the applications such as the I-130, the petition filed by a U.S. citizen or a lawful permanent resident on behalf of their foreign-born relative, has lengthened. Instead of the initial 6 to 7 months, now a petition can take most of the time 10 months, sometimes 11 to 12 months. And unfortunately, this actually lengthening, this additional processing time is actually due to the fact that all the petitions that are submitted for employment application require now USCIS officer to proceed with an interview, therefore creating a backlog and delays. All this to say, one has to be extremely cognizant and be very careful when submitting an application with USCIS, because any mistake in the application or missing documentation, like I told you in the last video, will probably end up in a denial, and you definitely do not want to have a denial after 12 months, something that could be avoided, because that denial can even come to you without what is called a request for evidence. This is the end of our first video. Do not hesitate if you have any question, if you need assistance, contact Coloco Immigration Law. With this last word, thank you, have a good day, goodbye.